Vladimir Putin is the world's biggest Christian nationalist. We discuss.
Trans women still have to sign up for the draft, so I guess they're men.
How do pro-life clinics trick women into keeping their babies? We talked to the director of one of them today.
All this and more on...
The Bee Weekly.
Hey everyone, welcome to the Babylon Bee podcast. Hanging out with Adam and Brandon today.
Hi.
How you guys doing?
Good. How are you guys doing?
Doing good, man. I haven't seen you in like years.
I was out for a week. I was on the East Coast. I did Gutfeld last Friday.
Oh yeah, how was that?
It was fun. I was like
What's Gutfeld? I've only heard of Gutfeld.
Yes, with the exclamation point. This comes on after that. It's a little
Got it.
more
Okay, it's the chill version.
Yeah, exactly.
For older people. Yeah.
Nice.
Which Gutfeld? Right, Gutfeld is already for old people.
Yeah, I was gonna say they don't get much older than that.
But I mean, the most popular late night.
It is. Yeah, it's always fun there.
That's why there's an exclamation mark so they can actually hear it.
Yeah.
To wake up the audience. Gutfeld is on.
Oh, okay. Let me. Here we go. Great old people impressions all around.
I must say I've never watched Gutfeld, and I don't think I've ever watched a show on Fox News ever.
Really? Are you serious?
Yeah, like I didn't grow up with cable. I don't have cable.
Yeah.
So I don't, like, unless I'm in an airport, I don't see.
I never used to watch. I would watch like alternately CNN and Fox during the day just for the sort of 24-hour news cycle. And then the shows I never really got into watching until like during the pandemic. I would just put on every now and then. Like Gutfeld I'd watch sometimes. I liked his old show Red Eye a lot, like years ago. Yeah. Red Eye was awesome, yeah. And I think Gutfeld is kind of that same format. It's a fun sort of like newsy but more comedic discussion panel kind of show.
So you said you've seen Fox News played at the airport?
Well, usually CNN.
Yeah.
So I was at the airport a few days ago, and I was laughing because I was as I was walking to my terminal, I happened to see this woman like sitting there, like, and she was like laughing to herself derisively, shaking her head. And I looked over at what she was watching, and it was CNN. So just based airport lady.
CNN.
She was just laughing at it.
Someone had a funny headline pitch this week. I don't think we ran it, but it was like, lone red-eyed traveler in Cleveland Airport says farewell to Don Lemon. Because he's gone, right? Did he like sign up for the last time?
Yeah, his show ended.
You know, one thing people always ask us is, well, when are we going to do like Babylon Bee Saturday Night Live? And the only danger is that we would do it and do it really badly, because conservatives tend to do those kinds of shows and not be good at it. You know, like,
and I think we've been pretty consistent with our sketches. You know, it's not like structured like a show, but I think the sketches we release, we've been able to keep, pretty good quality on the writing and the production values. And
yeah, what was that Fox News show that was really bad? There was like they tried to do it as
they tried to do like a late night kind of show.
Tonight Show Tonight or something. They had some double word in that. Not very good.
Yeah.
But the Babylon Bee is
we're killing it. We haven't had one bad thing yet.
Not a single one.
Not a single bad video.
No.
I'm trying to think what our worst video was. Like,
that would be funny if we do a week where we should all like look back ahead of time and each figure what we think is our worst video.
Let's do that.
Just trash
Let's do
it.
that.
Just
Let's
trash Babylon Bee content. All right, next week
we could look objectively and see where our lowest numbers are.
Yeah, should it be objective or should it be what we don't?
Lowest numbers are always worst video though.
I was going to say
they're like a bomb.
No, we can do both. We can pick our personal bombs.
Start with personal,
and then we can do the objective, like lowest viewed videos.
Yep.
Yeah.
So. Okay, that sounds fun. We'll do that next week. I like that we're planning the podcast on the podcast.
Gutfeld is great. Watch Gutfeld also.
Gutfeld. We have a new Instagram page for the podcast, so look that up, the Babylon Bee Podcast on Instagram. Please follow that. And we have a new podcast YouTube channel, so if you haven't subscribed to that, youtube.com/the Babylon Bee Podcast. We just crossed 21,000 subscribers. Please subscribe and help us build to that magic.
Our next goal is 22,000.
And that's
so if you can get us to 22,000,
Sizzler, and then we're going to call it a day.
And then we're done.
We got our 22,000 subscribers.
Suckers. Fly by night. Yes. Actually, we're getting close to 1 million subscribers on the main channel.
Yeah, I think we're going to hit it by the end of the year. And if we do, then we're going to do something really special for all of you.
Oh.
Yeah, something we've been planning.
It's going to be
Sizzler. So good. Yeah.
All right, well, it is time for Subscriber Dare. Americans are discovering that if we want to change the nation, we have to change the way the marketplace works. And that change starts with you, with your local communities, and with your wallet. Be deliberate with your dollars and reject woke corporations. Imagine a world in which every single dollar you spend would go towards companies that share your values for life, liberty, and patriotism. Now with the Public Square app, you can. Public SQ, or Public Square, is an app and website that connects freedom-loving Americans to the community and companies that share their values. Engage in a nationwide platform with the largest directory of patriotic businesses and consumers, all while accessing exclusive savings at businesses that see the world the way you do. The marketplace is free to join for consumers and business owners alike. To get started and shop your values, download the Public Square app from the App Store or Google Play, or click on the link in the video description.
This is Subscriber Dare.
I got a subscriber dare in my Twitter DMs.
Oh, nice.
And this guy messaged me and he said, "Dear Kyle, I'm sure you record each podcast ahead of time." We do. We don't record them after they're released. My subscriber dare is simple. Proclaim to the world that Judas Priest is superior to any either heavy metal band. They're the monster of rock. And then you or Emma sing Painkiller. I'd like that specific. I have to
proclaim
sing
it.
Painkiller.
Does Emma know?
Yeah, Emma can sing
I
it.
doubt she does. And I can't sing it, but I'm going to try. And she says, "This is all because you mentioned Iron Maiden and we need to set the balance straight. Even if this costs me a premium subscription, I will do that for Halford before he gets in a wheelchair. My subscription will be pending until I hear your Painkiller lullaby." Smiley face. So we're going to do this. And I actually brought my son in because he's a heavy metal virtuoso.
He's awesome, man.
Yeah, he's really good. He's going to be playing for us the guitar part, and I will attempt to sing a portion of Judas Priest's Painkiller. Here we go. Well, here we go. We are going to be doing Judas Priest Painkiller. This is my son, Samuel. Hi, Sam. Hi. He can't talk because he doesn't have a microphone. And here we go. Judas Priest Painkiller. We are here at the Rock Show. Oh, and I have to proclaim that row the world that the Priest is superior to any either heavy metal band, and they are the monster of rock. Here we go. Judas Priest Painkiller. Faster than a bullet, terrifying scream. Enraged and full of anger, he's half man and half machine. Rides the metal monster, breathing smoke and fire. Closing in with vengeance, soaring high. He is the Painkiller. This is the Painkiller. Steel Painkiller and atom bomb. Bleeding metal, brighter than 1,000 suns. Killer, pain, killer. Is the Painkiller. Or now go off. Just go off. Killer. Pain. That was pain. Yes.
Yeah.
Now, Sam,
are we allowed to do this on the Christian podcast or no? Is this?
That was actually Ronnie James Dio's grandmother would do that to ward off evil spirits.
Oh,
so
really?
it's supposed to be a good sign.
It's not like pro-devil, it's anti-devil.
It's supposed to be anti-devil, actually, yeah. So, Sam, you don't actually have to say Judas Priest is the best heavy metal band. That was just me. So who's your favorite heavy metal band? Iron Maiden for the uninitiated. All right, awesome. Well,
I checked, and we can't clear any of the music. It's all going to be silent.
It's all quiet. We will get demonetized.
We're going to get sued.
But thanks. Go ahead and subscribe now, subscriber person. I forget to put his name on here, but yeah. Goodbye.
Dude, that was awesome.
And we're going to bring Sam back for the 10 questions during the subscriber portion. I really like the idea that we do subscriber dares that one person wants. And then you probably get 100 people that unsubscribe because it's annoying.
Yeah.
All right, well, let's take a look at what's in the news this week. How many minutes of oxygen do you?
I think we have the clock up here with 2 minutes and 50 seconds of oxygen left.
So we're gonna have to fly through this.
Yeah.
What's in the news this week?
Well, I saw this thread on Twitter and I quite enjoyed it. The nations of the world this week welcomed a new fledgling nation, the 1-acre micronation in Nevada, the Republic of Molossia. Now, the headline is worded kind of confusing. I think this has actually been around for a while.
Yeah, I think it's been around for a long time because people declare these little micronations like all over the world.
Yeah, and this one is pretty funny. This guy's named Kevin Baugh. He's the self-proclaimed benevolent dictator of the Republic, and he asks to be addressed as Your Excellency or President Baugh. He has a currency called the Valora, which is pegged to the value of cookie dough, and a navy that consists of 2 kayaks.
Nice.
There's at least 67 separate micronations in the world, and Molossia has a population of 35. This number is entirely comprised of Bao's family members, including 3 dogs.
So dogs have full citizenship in this country.
Yeah.
And the citizens all have dual citizenship with the U.S. and vote in U.S. elections and pay U.S. taxes, which Bao calls foreign aid.
And you got to look at this picture of this guy, very serious in his micronation.
Nice. He's a highly decorated general there.
He's just living his best life.
Yeah.
Look at this, the border with the 2 signs. You can go USA on this side. They regularly participate in the annual Nevada Day Parade. He actually said that the country is currently at war with East Germany, which ceased to exist in 1990. And it was once in battle with another micronation called Mustachistan. A micronational war is just somebody spamming your email inbox or something.
That's pretty bad.
Or something like that. As the time zone is 39 minutes ahead of Pacific Standard Time and 21 minutes behind Mountain Standard Time, using the unique and nonsensical Kokint system. They base
lengths.
I don't understand that sentence.
The measurements are based on the size of his hand.
Measurements based length on the size of Bao's hand and volume relative to the size of Diet Pepsi cans.
Huh. Their economy is tourism-based. You see, approximately 200 people visit every year. You can even get your passport stamped there. And it takes 30 minutes to see every site. That's less than their population. Minutes.
I've never visited any of these micronations. Have you? They seem like they'd be fun to do. There was one in Australia, I know, where it was like one family that had one there for like years and years, and then I think they had to shut down during the pandemic because like they needed help from the Australian government. And then there's one called Sealand, like off the coast of Britain. It's just like an oil platform.
Oh, the oil! I've seen the oil platform.
That some guy built like a.
It was like the Isle of Man was one.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
Well, is that your own?
At the Isle of Man, I think I have citizenship.
If you'd like us to tour one of these micronations, let us know in the comments. And
subscribe to the Babylon Bee.
If you have a micronation, let us know about it. Now on to another nation. Ukraine might have partially blown up the only rail and vehicle bridge linking Crimea with Russia in the east. Russia retaliated by striking with a large number of missiles. And then I saw that I think Russia arrested 8 people that they said were involved in this. But it says Russia says it was a suicide truck bomb and are accusing Ukraine of terrorism. Ukraine is accusing Russia of terrorizing them with retaliatory step-up in missile strikes on major cities like Kiev. On October 6th, Joe Biden warned we were closer to nuclear Armageddon.
It's always reassuring when the president says that.
Especially when he said it at like some Democratic event. Like he makes these like cataclysmic statements just offhand at an event rather than like delivering a speech about it or addressing how great the threat really is.
Fiery but mostly peaceful.
Yeah.
War.
In other news, Kamala Harris says nobody should have to go to jail for smoking weed after Joe Biden announced his decision to pardon federal convictions related to marijuana.
Is this the Babylon Bee banger of the week? Oh, it's a real story.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
So Kamala was laughing about her marijuana use in the past. She said on a podcast, "I have, and I did, and I inhaled. I did inhale." She said that on the Breakfast Club in 2019. I think it gives a lot of people joy, and we need more joy.
And she has apparently arrested or jailed 1,974 people for hashish and marijuana convictions as California's Attorney General. So that's nice.
While she was listening to Biggie and Tupac.
Yeah.
In other news, trans women must register for the draft, but not trans men. So it says U.S. citizens or immigrants who are born male and change their gender to female are still required to register, the Selective Service states on its official website.
They're like, I like how woke
insane.
they are. I like how woke they are with the gender stuff in the government.
Born male and change their gender to female, even though everyone, including this Selective Service, acknowledges that they're men.
I like how woke they are
ridiculous.
with the pronoun stuff, and then they're like,
and they don't treat them they know at their base biological level, none of this stuff makes sense.
Like,
they
yeah,
just have to talk around it in this.
you can be a woman,
way.
you can use whatever pronouns you want. But you're a man.
But you have to register in the draft like a man would.
You can do whatever you want. Just pretend.
Yeah.
You can play make believe, but
It's insane.
I also think it's kind of funny that the agency responsible for drafting people, their acronym is the SS, the Selective Service.
yeah. Isn't it SSS? I think it's
What is the third S
SSS.
mean?
system, Selective Service
System. So one extra S, so it's
They were calling it the Selective
50%.
Service, and they go, "Uh-oh, let's add system to the end. This isn't good.
I think that's exactly what happened in the boardroom.
Somebody throw out another S."
And they kind of randomly tweeted this out, and this was one of those things, like, it wasn't clear why they posted this randomly. It's like, sir, this is a Wendy's type thing, but they tweeted out a picture of a black father and his black son, and they say, "Parents, if your son is an only son and the last male in your family to carry the family name, he's still required to register with SSS. Learn more about who needs to register at our website."
Wait, why did they tweet that?
They just randomly posted
That
it.
sounds like a specific issue with one person. They're like tweeting out,
Carl,
even if it's your last remaining son, he still has to do it. We're tired of going back and forth with this on you.
Yeah. Carl Smith in Reno, Nevada, you are required to register with the Selective Service. So, yeah, they're like, by the way, we will kill your child.
And then he's like, well, what if he becomes a lady? And they're like, no, then too.
No.
You have to.
All right, well, let's go on to a Babylon Bee Banger of the Week.
Banger of the Week.
This is another one of our listicles that has become Banger of the Week.
Nice.
Are you a homophobic bigot? 8 troubling signs. And the first one is, you didn't show up for the midnight screening of Bros in full cosplay.
Number 2 is you don't really care for soccer.
Number 3, you're married to a woman.
A woman. Number 4 is you order black coffee at Starbucks instead of a pumpkin spice latte with extra whip and caramel drizzle.
Yeah, who drinks pumpkin spice?
I like pumpkin spices, like the Keurig things, but here's a little pet peeve that I was thinking about this week, and I tweeted about it, and I had a lot of support for this. Why are you laughing? I mean, said it yet.
Are you mad that even the last child has to register for the
that
Selective
too, but this is what I'm more mad about this. When the one Starbucks I go to when I pick up coffee on the way to work, if I order an Americano, I say tall Americano or venti Americano, whatever. They always say, "Is that hot or iced?" But I think it should be hot by default.
Yes.
And
Right.
iced is a deviation.
Right.
I agree.
Now, I could see the argument if you're like getting something weird like caramel whip, latte, like if they're like iced or hot, because it's probably typically ordered blended or iced.
Mm-hmm.
But if I was just like black coffee and they're like iced or hot,
Americano specifically.
Americano is like a hot
The second
beverage.
ingredient is hot water.
it's like hot coffee and hot water. That's what it is. So it frustrates me. But no other Starbucks I've gone to has done that. There's one Starbucks and every barista there asks me that question.
I have a similar problem with I drink iced tea when I go to Starbucks. I'm not a coffee drinker, but I always get a venti unsweetened black iced tea. And at some point, one of the baristas at one store would tell me, you don't have to say unsweetened. We make it unsweetened by default now, even though they didn't used to. Then if I go to other stores and just say I'd like a venti black iced tea, light ice, they go, do you want sweetener in that?
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, I might as well have just said the words and
Saved a little
like
time.
I'm used to,
and-
yeah.
My gripe about Starbucks is they pronounce dulce instead of dolce.
Dulce. Yeah. Okay.
Oh, they say, what do they say?
Most,
Dulce?
at least in California, most Starbucks baristas say dulce.
And it's dulce. It's like a cha Is that Italian?
Dolce, yeah.
Is that Italian? So, but it was a double C. Is a ch in Italian or C?
But like
also?
the Spanish word is dulce, so
Yeah, right.
I think
Oh, I see.
terrible pronunciation.
That's the Mexican's fault. Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
Number 5.
Number 5 is you've never contracted monkeypox. And now remember, for those of you who forgot, these are the top signs that you're a homophobic bigot.
Another sign you're a homophobic bigot is you've only seen Rent one time.
Brandon's not in danger of this sign. Number 7 is the Las Vegas Raiders are not your favorite NFL team.
Number 8 is you love gay people and treat them the same as everyone else, but don't 100% support every single one of their life choices.
What a bigot.
Bigot.
What a bigot.
And now we have a bomb of the week also.
Bomb of the week.
Elon Musk's robot quickly fathers 7 new baby robots.
I like this one.
I like the visual of it.
I like the little robots running around.
What are those robots are from something, aren't they?
I think those are PlayStation robots, I think.
Okay.
They're actually
they're
just a
from
generic Shutterstock robot.
That resemble the little PlayStation robots.
Yeah. And now a word from our sponsor, BetterHelp. You know, a lot of times in life we get stuck looking at problems instead of solutions. For me as a writer, sometimes I can sit there and bash my head against the keyboard when I'm trying to think of something funny. The important thing to do is to train your brain to stay in kind of a problem-solving mode where you're able to overcome obstacles. A therapist can help you become a better problem solver, making it easier to accomplish your goals. I've done therapy and biblical counseling myself, and I've had a lot of friends and family members also do therapy and biblical counseling, and it's always been a really great experience for them. You know, sometimes they feel like I'm going to be a failure if I get therapy, or I'm a failure if I go talk to somebody or talk to a counselor, but it couldn't be further from the truth. Therapy helps me to feel less stressed, less anxious, and more in control of my own life. If you are thinking of giving therapy a try, BetterHelp could be a good option for you. When you want to be a better problem solver, therapy can get you there. Visit betterhelp.com/BabylonB today to get 10% off your first month. That's betterhelp, HELP.com/BabylonB. All right, it's time for Sizzler Facts. 20 weeks ago, we debuted a new feature to the podcast called Sizzler Facts. And this is a Not the Bees, one of Not the Bees editors, Joel Abbott. And he tweeted out, I feel like I may have accidentally stumbled into a Sizzler Fact segment from the Twilight Zone. And he took a picture of this sign on a telephone pole, and it says, "Found, bull, white bull," and at the bottom, a picture of the most beautiful woman I've ever seen.
She is stunning.
Not offering the bull back. I want to meet the woman.
And at the bottom of the page it says, "Trust me, I have known you 100 years in my heart. I will take you as you are. Take one of these restaurant buzzers. Walk around and it will buzz when you're at front of my house." And taped to the bottom of this flyer are 3 restaurant buzzers from Sizzler.
Amazing.
Where did he get them?
Does he live at the Sizzler? Because it says they'll buzz when she's near his house.
That would be like at the Sizzler.
Or he's a disgruntled Sizzler employee that was fired and
he brought the full
the buzzer.
transponder system with him, and you can buzz if you get close to him.
If the man who posted this sign or the woman pictured in the bowl are out there, please contact us so we can get to the bottom of this.
If you guys have any Sizzler memorabilia, by the way, like if you have one of these buzzers, if you have a Sizzler apron or hat or anything, please send it to us. We would love to have some Sizzlers. The only memorabilia I can find online is like ashtrays, which we're going to get, but I haven't gotten been able to find any other memorabilia. So email us podcast@babylonbay.com if you have any
But this is just such a touching story.
I'd love to get a Sizzler buzzer also.
This is such a touching story. I'd like to think that eventually this is going to lead to something serious.
Wait, you're saying that the bowl thing is touching?
Yeah, well, I mean, this is a blooming romance in the works. This woman drew a picture of herself at the bottom of a bowl and left it out there for a Sizzler buzzing owning person to find.
I think this has to be a jokester. That's my guess.
No.
This is like a performance art type thing that someone's goofing around. That's my guess.
Why would you waste 3 Sizzler buzzers?
Yeah, that's what I keep going
for love. For love.
The value that those things must bring in. And now to follow up Sizzler facts, here are some Sizzler comments.
Sizzler comments.
This is from Doug Barrett. Totally cool. Not often that I have personal experience with both eateries you mention. Too bad Sizzler is loosing outlets.
So this was on the Secret Fascist video where Kyle mentions both Fuddruckers and Sizzler in the video.
Earl Smith says, are there still some Sizzlers around? Thought they were all gone.
Doug responded, I think they are all left in Texas. One in Concord, California was not there last time I was. I think there is still one in Sandy, Utah. It was still there last August.
Here's another from Earl Smith. He replies, thanks. They're not in North Dakota, South Dakota, or what I've seen in Minnesota. It's still heartbreaking. Fine dining.
I love that the Sizzler community is coming together.
They're coming together. Yeah,
we'll
we're bringing them
connect in
together.
our comments
remembering
to
their
discuss
Sizzler memories.
We should launch a Sizzler dating app.
And then also on that same video.
And your picture has to be you drawn in the bottom of a bowl.
From Alexander Powell on the same video, rocking the Sizzler t-shirt. Oh, I miss their cheese toast.
Oh, dude, the cheese toast is excellent.
Do they have good cheese toast? I want to go get that.
That's
now.
like
I don't know if I've tried that.
Let's make it
the free bread.
We
that
should
they
make
give
it
at
one
the
of these
table.
days. We
Really?
have the recipe.
Yeah.
Oh, we should
We
get
have
some
the
cheese
recipe.
toast.
That's the free thing they give you when you sit at the table.
Nice.
So.
This has been Sizzler Comments.
And now it's time for weekly news with this guy, Adam Yenser.
It's time for the weekly news with Adam Yenser.
This week, presidential gardener Dale Haney celebrated 50 years of tending to the trees and plants outside the White House, and Karine Jean-Pierre thanked him on behalf of the vegetable inside the White House. After hearing that Biden had pardoned marijuana possession, Dale pulled one of the rose bushes aside and said, "Look what else I've been growing." Strippers at the Star Garden Topless Bar in North Hollywood have voted to unionize, and if their thongs keep giving them wedgies, they're gonna picket. Blink-182 announced that they are going back on tour with their original members, including Tom DeLonge. Now, Tom hasn't played with the band in over 7 years, but hopefully he still remembers all 3 chords. During Sunday's Buccaneers game, a 10-year-old boy ran onto the field and was tackled by security, although he did gain more yards than the Falcons. An American tourist at the Vatican got angry because he couldn't meet the Pope and smashed 2 ancient Roman statues. The Vatican has promised to repair the pagan images and put them back in their place of worship like God intended. A rapper at a weed festival in California used a fog machine modified with a leaf blower to blow marijuana smoke into the crowd and get everyone high. No one could tell if it worked since the entire crowd was already high. Several of the famous stone heads on Easter Island were irreparably damaged by a fire, and the damage is pretty bad. Here's one of the moai before the fire, and here's the moai after the fire. It's sad that these statues were damaged, but let this be a lesson to other cultures. Your artifacts are much safer when Europeans steal them and put them in the Louvre. That's it for the weekly news. To see more, check out my YouTube channel, and to see the full B Weekly podcast, subscribe to the new Babylon Bee podcast channel.
So baseball's going on. There's a playoff right now.
Mm-hmm.
The Padres are playing the Dodgers. But by the time this comes out, they might be eliminated from playoff contention, which would be sad.
If you had to bet right now, because this will come out after the fact, do you think they'll still be in?
No.
I hear there was a controversy of someone who put they were checking his
the
his
Padres.
pants.
The final game between the Padres and the Mets. The Mets were up. The Padres were up 6-0, and so the Mets coach, the guy that stands there and tells them what to do. I think it's the coach, or maybe the manager. I don't know. He told them to. He told the umpire to check his ears because they thought that he put sticky goo on his fingers because he had he had pitched 7 no-hit innings. Joe Musgrove, who was the pitcher.
They had people come out.
So they actually had 7 umpires surrounding him, patting him down and frisking him, and they were sticking their fingers in his ears and stuff.
Really?
And it was for 15 minutes on live TV. We were sitting at the sports bar watching this guy get probed.
That's crazy. I gotta watch baseball.
I'm missing out.
It was the most exciting part of the game.
Is there a thing? I was at a bar a week or 2 ago, and I think it was a Phillies game where the guy was close to pitching a no-hitter. I think it got messed up in the 8th inning or something.
Yeah, I think I remember.
But we were in the bar, and the woman next to us was watching the game, and she kept saying to my friend, she goes, "Something is happening, but we can't talk about it. Are you not supposed to mention a no-hitter?
It's a jinx. It's a jinx."
So I didn't ever heard that before. So
said, "What? Oh, is he pitching a no-hitter?" And you blew
that's
it?
what my friend kept doing then. He was like, "Oh, you mean a no-hitter?" And then, he messed up. So the jinx worked, I guess.
Here's this week's sports ball fact. If you hit 3 goals in hockey in one game, that's called a hat trick.
Hat trick. That one I knew. I think I know more about hockey than I do about baseball.
It's called a hat trick because they used to throw like fine gentlemen would throw their hats on the rink.
Oh, really?
When you did it. And
Cool.
that's this week's sports ball fact.
That's really, really cool.
Now we're going to talk about David French.
Oh boy, my favorite topic.
You have thoughts about David French? So there's been this discussion lately about Christian nationalism, and I've seen this term start creeping up in the last 3 to 6 months, 3 to 5.5 months maybe. And David French seems to be hammering on it a lot. And I thought this tweet was pretty funny this week. He said, "The world's most powerful Christian nationalist, the anti-woke Vladimir Putin, has launched his holy war. His tanks are burning in the fields, and his raping, looting, murdering army is in retreat. What can we learn?" He links to his article, which is called "The Spiritual Lessons of a Christian Nationalist Military Defeat."
I think what we can learn is
Did
that
anyone read the article?
I haven't read it.
I haven't read it either.
I think what we can learn is that Putin's
But I like to talk about
not a Christian.
I don't understand that. Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't get it.
I don't know as much about David French, but I don't think I hate David French as much as other people here. I found that whenever I'm here, you guys bring up some worse thing that he said, and then I go and check out like a speech or something. Like, no, he's not bad.
I met him one time.
But see, I would be interested to read the article. I think the headline's kind of sensational. I don't know why he calls Putin like anti-woke, like positing him as like part of that movement. But I don't know a whole lot about David French. I'd be interested to read the article.
Yeah, I don't necessarily want to just bash David French the entire time here. Maybe 95%.
But I don't know about Putin's, like, you ask here, is it fair to call him a Christian? I can't tell. I don't like necessarily judging other people's faith, whether I think they're a good or bad person. Yeah. But it is curious whether Putin actually has this faith or if he's just making appearances at these Christian events to sort of work that into his own political agenda.
But and there's a weird conflation where like he's arguing against Christian nationalism here in America, like people who kind of like vote for Trump and say we have to get Christian values back in our laws, and then he says, well, that's the same thing as Vladimir Putin and what he's doing. So it's kind of like he's making this argument at home, and then he says, well, Putin's a Christian nationalist.
Not the same
it's
thing.
kind of like, I don't know if that's making the point that you think it's making. Yeah. And Putin also passed a Yarovaya law, an anti-evangelism law that means Christians can be arrested and punished for preaching the gospel in Russia. So it's kind of like, maybe he's not really a Christian, But I kind of wanted to discuss this concept of Christian nationalism in general because I don't understand why this term has suddenly cropped up, and I don't know that I've ever met someone that I would describe as a Christian nationalist in the way that people like David French describe them. I don't know. I mean, maybe they're out there. I'm sure.
I think they exist, but
is it a big threat to our nation?
See, that's what I don't think it is. I have a friend who's definitely more on the left. She's not far left, but she's kind of center left. And whenever she talks about the right, she has this impression that we're like all under the like hypnosis of like the Nazi movement, or we're all like in danger of becoming far right at any moment. And I think the media plays up this idea of how deep the sort of nationalism and that as an extremist political movement is just common within the right and Trump supporters. And in my experience, it's not. Like, I know a lot of people on the right. I know lots of Trump supporters that have been to Republican events. I rarely, if ever, have seen that strain that they sort of promote online in Twitter comments from extremists at actual Republican events.
Well, I was talking to my wife about this last night. I was saying part of the problem is that you have, like, when Democratic policies always fail, why do they continue to be supported so strongly? And it's not just because people continue to tout them, but also they have the entire media structure behind them. I was talking to a friend of mine a few years ago about some of these alt-right or far-right extremists, and I said, how prevalent do you think they are? And he said, they're super prevalent. They're everywhere. And I said, how many have you met? And he was like, I guess I haven't.
Yeah.
But it's just they're touted to be such a huge thing in the
Christian
media.
nationalists in the room with us right now.
No, but he was able to admit, he was like, no, I guess I haven't really seen any of them.
Yeah.
But he did concede that it's probably because he's in California and it's a haven of liberal idealism.
The media amplifies when they find a tweet or when they find an extremist who does say something that's, racist or is white nationalists in an extreme way. They promote that and say this is what the right is, and it's not. That's
but
not what
like
the majority
when
is.
those things happen, the vast majority of mainstream conservatives denounce that.
Yes.
And because we're forced to.
Yeah.
It's like, do you support this thing that this KKK member said? And we're like, no, not at all.
Well,
not even remotely.
It's even like Trump's old "find people on both sides" comment, where they said he was praising them, and if you let the audio play, it's literally like after a comma, the rest of that sentence is not the white nationalists and neo-Nazis. They should be condemned completely.
Yeah. I love it when,
like it's right there.
I love it when people bring that up because when I'm able to tell them, does he say the white nationalists and the tiki torch wielding people?
Yeah,
and they kind of just assume yes, and
they
say
think he did
exactly.
That's what they were told by the media.
It blows their mind when they find out, oh, he actually didn't say this because the media narrative is just so pervasive.
And it's the same with the sort of threat of these extreme far-right groups in general. Like one of the things that I've done that's interesting is whenever you hear these groups mentioned, like the Oath Keepers or the Proud Boys or the KKK, things like that, if you actually go on like Wikipedia or go to like firsthand sources about these groups, those groups number within the dozens or hundreds. It's not like there's not millions of people in the country that are subscribing to these events. And even when they have marches and protests, it's like a few dozen people there with lots of media cameras around them. These groups are not large and they have not much influence in terms of our culture.
To be fair, to check ourselves on our side, I think on the right, we also tend to overinflate the prevalence of the absolute insane leftist ideals. However, the difference is those same insane leftist ideals are echoed in Congress, are echoed by major institutions, by universities, by corporations. The fact that men can be women, that is a mainstream talking point to Coca-Cola, to any university you would pick outside of Hillsdale.
And to that point, I am skeptical when I hear claims from people on the right about some of the even more extreme stuff, like people, the trans movement obviously has a large cultural presence, but I hear people on the right sometimes bring up, people identified as cats and stuff like that. That's an extreme fringe.
I know at least 20 of them.
Yeah, but that's not as big a cultural problem. It's an extension of that same mindset, but it's not like that's happening everywhere.
Yeah. There's a whole movie about it, the Jellicle Cats. Yeah.
What is it called?
Cats.
Oh, the musical. I see. Have you watched that or Rent more?
I have watched Cats more than I've seen Rent once.
I see.
I had no idea what it was about, and I was watching it, and I was like, oh, okay, don't need to see this again.
Did you enjoy it though?
Cats or Rent?
Rent.
I like a few.
I'm just talking about Rent.
I know
now,
we've sidetracked. Yeah. There's a few numbers I like, and I do not like the musical as a whole. No.
Well, for me personally, I just go with the Babylon Bees description of what Christian nationalism is.
And
so
you should too.
Let's check it out.
What is Christian nationalism? Is it good? No. No, it is not. This dangerous movement is filled with Christians who love America and vote for Republicans. It is the gravest danger the American church has ever faced. It is important to stop this wicked, depraved, idolatrous movement before they organize another insurrection. Or worse, elect a Republican. What are its origins? One day, Trump had a meeting with Satan in his underground lair and concocted a diabolical plan to trick Christians into voting for him.
That's so funny.
By banning abortion and helping all the people find jobs.
Which means to me jobs. That's what it means, jobs.
Thus, Christian nationalism was born, and millions of so-called Christians voted for Trump, even though he's not a perfect man. Unlike all the other politicians, despicable. What do Christian nationalists believe? Christian nationalists literally worship Trump. They think he's a god. They pray to him and stuff. At least some of them do. The rest worship Jesus, but still voted for Trump, which is really no different than worshiping him. Here are some telltale signs of being a Christian nationalist. Prayer, going to church, having lots of kids, being white, or being any other race, but still loving America, reading the Constitution, building walls, insurrecting things, dancing around a golden Trump statue and sacrificing virgins in a roaring fire in the light of the full moon. Here are some famous adherents of Christian nationalism: Adolf Hitler, Satan, and Donald Trump, who is Satan and Hitler. Here are some famous opponents of Christian nationalism: Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, David French, Joseph Stalin, David French, Fidel Castro, and David French. We hope this helpful explainer has helped you and been helpful. Now, go find a Christian nationalist and slap them with a fish.
Hey guys, the last couple of years have proven that we need to be prepared. We see a lot of government overreach, attacks on our communication and energy grid, worldwide conflict, natural disasters, and the never-ending assault on our security and privacy. Having reliable communication is essential. Don't get caught without it. I'm here to tell you, your fragile cell phone simply won't cut it. That's why we've partnered with the satellite PhoneStore, so you can stay prepared and ensure that your vital communication stays private. They're one of America's largest satellite telecom companies, with thousands of happy, well-prepared customers. For a limited time, Satellite PhoneStore has a special promo offer when you go to sat123.com/B. That's SAT123.com/BEE. Get a free bivvy stick and unlimited satellite text for only $74.95 plus tax per month with an annual agreement. We want you to go to sat123.com/B. That's sat123.com/BEE and get your device today. Don't put it off. Life can change in an instant. sat123.com/B. Oh, that was good. Thank you, Dan.
Now I understand it.
Thank you, Dan, for,
Now it all makes sense.
narrating that for us. All right, now we're going to talk to Evangeline Sanders from Assure Pregnancy Clinic. We're going to find out if they put a little midget inside the ultrasound machine to make that heartbeat sound. Here we go. Well, thanks for coming out.
Thanks so much for having me here today.
Yeah.
Where do you work?
I work at Assure Pregnancy Clinic. We are based in Fontana, in California, Southern California, in the Inland Empire. So that's where we are right now. We've been there for about 3 years in that location, but the clinic itself has been around for 30 years. So we've moved around a little bit, but right now we're in Fontana.
So what would you say you do there?
So my role is in development. So I get the fun job of being able to go around and speak to churches and speak to individuals and businesses and try and get people to support the work that we're doing there.
All right, so you're trying to get them to give you money.
Basically.
Okay.
Yeah, in a very easy, couth, nice way. But yes, we would love more money.
Give them money.
We do.
But wait, what does the clinic actually do? Are you just trying to trick women into keeping babies?
I mean, you'll have to come and see exactly what we do, but we don't trick any women into keeping babies, but we do provide them.
Why would you say that, Bettina?
With resources and options for them to be able to navigate. So if you hadn't have already gathered, I'm from England. So moving out here was the first time I was actually introduced to the pregnancy care movement. We don't have things like this out in England.
Interesting.
And so it was really, really exciting for me to get involved and see just the volunteers that we have are stellar. The medical staff and the caliber that they basically come and work at a nonprofit is just amazing. So the amount of resources, medical care support, peer counseling that happens was something I'd actually never experienced. And it was just like, this is awesome. Why doesn't everywhere have this for women that are going through unplanned pregnancies?
Where are you from in England?
I'm from a little village in Berkshire, which is just west of London.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Is your accent typical of that area?
It is.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because I couldn't, like you said, that we probably knew you were from England. I didn't know that. Like,
Oh, I'm sorry.
I could tell you had an accent, but I was kind of like vaguely like somewhere in the British Empire from, I don't know, like somewhere
yes.
that like England conquered, I don't know, like let's
So most parts of the world.
like most parts of the world. It could have been anywhere, and I'm just kind of like, I don't know. There's like a, because like New Zealand, Australia, like they all kind of have that sort of thing. So anyway, good talk.
Would be said as American, yes.
Yeah. All right, so we're in. You're doing pregnancy work in a very difficult part of the country. Yeah. You're in California here, where we kind of we have a lot of people that like abortion, especially the government. And I don't know if you saw that disgusting billboard that Gavin Newsom had up with the "Love Your Neighbor" that he put up in Mississippi, encouraging women to come here to have abortions. I mean, what's that like? You're in the belly of the beast here. Like, I don't know. I just visited a pregnancy clinic in Georgia, which is a little more friendly. It was a more rural area. It was a little more friendly to conservative ideas and pro-life ideas. And it's got to be crazy. What kind of opposition do you face on a daily basis?
So it's interesting that you kind of mentioned his billboard. I think when we first saw that, we were just shocked. We were shocked that he would use the words of Christ that calls us to sacrifice, our lives for the weakest, for the innocent, to stand up for truth, to stand up for justice, but also to give hope and peace. And I don't really feel like the abortion lobby does that at all. Here in California, we don't necessarily face too much opposition as a pregnancy clinic because abortion is so widely available. But I think the saddest thing that we hear, and I shared this with Bettina earlier, is that a lot of the clients that come to the clinic will say, how did we not hear of you? Why didn't we know that this was available? You guys are the best kept secret. And we're like, we don't want to be the best kept secret. We want to be out there for you to know that when a woman discovers that she's pregnant and it is not planned, it can be a very difficult transition at that point. And where do they go? And everyone knows at Planned Parenthood, but at Planned Parenthood, you're only sold one option. You're sold, you're not good enough. You probably won't be able to, carry on this pregnancy. Not if you want to keep your job, not if you want to be financially stable. It's painted as the wise decision to go ahead and have an abortion. And sadly, when the women then come to our clinic and they're speaking about these things, we're like, okay, we understand your situation, but what do you actually want to do? And a lot of them will say, if only I had the support, if only my boyfriend said he would stay with me, if only I knew that others would come alongside me, I would keep this baby. There's no tricking going on because we have conversations with them. We have it's called the love approach that we use in the clinic. And the first L, it stands for listening and learning. And that's how we start the whole conversation. We don't try to impose our values or impose anything on the women that come in there, but we really want to listen and learn from them. Like, what is it that you're actually wanting in this? And so many will say that this whole thing of my body, my choice, being told that it's all on me is actually a lot of pressure. At that time when I'm feeling vulnerable and I don't know what to do, I want to know that people are coming alongside me and helping me make that decision rather than just telling me that's your problem, you have to make it yourself.
I never thought of it like that.
Well, especially boyfriends. Well, it's up to you. You do whatever you want. Just think about it. When you're trying to make a big life decision, you don't want to have all the weight because it's not just you can go ahead and make that decision, but also you alone have made that decision. So if you don't like the consequences, it's also on you. And that's a very scary, isolating position for women to be in.
Huh.
So a lot of the problems with, or people say the problem with abortion is that, okay, so you've had the mom decide she's going to keep the baby. Mm-hmm. What kind of support do you offer them aside from saying, okay, keep the baby, you help them decide that, and then what happens?
Well, I think it's really surprising when people hear the amount of resources that are actually available for women that are experiencing unplanned pregnancies. So especially for those that are abortion-minded that actually change their mind, there are organizations that will give them monthly stipends every single month to be able to take care of their babies. At the clinic, we have a program called the Bridges Parenting Support Program that goes on from the time that they have found out that they're pregnant. Usually, in our clinic, it's between 6 to 8 weeks, right through to giving birth and also 6 months afterwards. So there is a free, they don't have to pay for anything. There are free parenting classes that they come to. And during the course of that time, they will get around $2,000 worth of free baby items. So that is diapers every single time they attend a session. They will get a baby bassinet, a car seat, basically anything they need alongside clothes, formula, milk, all of those practical items, but more so the parents that come, and it isn't just for the women, it's also for guys that want to come along too, so boyfriends or husbands. They form a wonderful, tight-knit community of other people that are going through the same thing that they have gone through. Their mentors are fantastic, and they continue to stay in their lives to check in on them. When they're going to the hospital, they will give them rides. Hey, you need some help? We'll go ahead and help you with that. Do you need childcare so you can attend a study that you really need to go to? Or do you have other children that need looking after so you can go and attend your prenatal appointments so you're not missing out? There is a lot that is going on. I could definitely go on more about that, but the Bridges Parenting Program is just a fantastic resource that the clinic has, and I'm sure other clinics will have that too, as a starting point to form a community that is really for families. It's not just for the child, it's definitely for the parents as well to make them know that they're not alone.
So do you ever have reunions for the people that go through your course and finish?
So they have lots of different things that go on. They have mentors that will continue to stay with them, however long they want to. There isn't they don't have to sign up and say, oh, I want to be a member. There's no fee or anything like that. But if you think about it, 7 months of pregnancy followed by another 7 to 8 months of pregnancy followed by another 6 months postpartum, that's a long time to develop friendships and relationships. And so that's one avenue that's available. But then we also partner with churches and community businesses and things to really help them get involved in the community, to have a wider support network as well.
Well, Stacey Abrams recently claimed that there was a worldwide conspiracy where whoever developed the ultrasound machine and all the manufacturers trick women by making this heartbeat sound. So do you make that sound, or do you have like a little man in the machine that...
I wish we did, but sadly we don't. We don't have a way of being able to trick, like that's just not what we do. But I think the funny thing when she says that is that every single machine in a hospital, anything that you have that shows the heartbeat of a person, are they all tricking people too? When people flatline and we have to resuscitate them, do we just do that for fun? Resuscitating someone is really dangerous to them. Like, it's not a nice experience. And I'm guessing that all doctors and nurses are not trying to kill their patients. I don't want to go down that route, but you see what I mean? Like, it's really funny that they have that. And I think the other thing that we need to realize is that the sonographers that we have, and we actually have 2 very highly trained, wonderful sonographers in our clinic, they will be meeting women week after week, multiple women a day. And they understand a lot more than they can actually communicate to the women. And it's a lot of burden that they carry of like, hey, they also see when there is no fetal heartbeat. They also see when a baby is close, or you can see by the length. Hey, actually, this baby is measuring 6 weeks. They should be at 10 weeks. There's something that's gone on, and believe me, it would be so nice if we could just make up a fetal heartbeat to make everyone think, hey, go ahead and have this baby. But that isn't what we're here to do. We're here to care for women and tell them the truth about what's going on in their pregnancies. So sadly, no weird fetal heartbeat things going on there.
Small, like midget, in the machine or anything.
No midget in the machine. And for those of you that have never seen an ultrasound, visit your local pro-life pregnancy clinic, because it is just the most beautiful experience. We've had, actually just about 2 months ago, we had a sweet young lady that came in that just had a lot of things going on in her life that made carrying on with a pregnancy a really difficult decision for her. And she, after she'd met with her client advocate, and that's who we partnered them up with prior to them going and seeing the nurse and seeing the sonographer, she was just saying, you know what? I just can't have this baby. Anything that we were saying, any resource that we were offering her, she was like, you can tell me all of those things, but my life right now, I just cannot see it going okay if I have a baby. Like, this baby's going to come in and completely change things. This baby's going to come in and change everything for me. And I just don't have the support. I don't have the ability. I don't have the means to be able to go through the pregnancy. And then she went into the ultrasound room, and the sonographer showed, went through and found the heartbeat, found the baby, and it was actually 10 weeks and 2 days old already, and it was doing little spins inside of her, and these are her words, and she said, "Oh my gosh, it's real. I just fell in love with my baby." And everything else, all of those other concerns and worries, not that they weren't important, not that they weren't true, they melted away when she saw that the life inside of her wasn't just a blob of cells, wasn't something in the future that was coming in. It was already real inside of her, and that was her baby. And she was like, no, I'm going to do this. This is my baby. And you know what? And I think that's really pretty, because I think that's the innate love that God has given mothers for their children. And so many times women are told that this is not your child, this is just a blob of cells, this isn't even, anything else. It's like another part of your body that you can get rid of. But actually the truth of the matter is that this is their child. This is another life that has come independently of them. It's inside of them, but it's not of them. And there is a beautiful connection that innately comes from mothers to their children. And so that was a really, really lovely and pretty moment and special moment that our sonographers were able to witness.
Yeah, and when you said before that women are kind of like, it's almost like they're instinctively like they want to have this child because that's how God designed them. Mm-hmm. A lot of times we just think of it too much like it's just this neutral thing and we're trying to convince them this way, and pro-choice people are trying to convince them that way. We forget that like we have God and nature and biology on our side, mm-hmm. And that the only reason that a lot of things are swinging the other direction is because of Satan and his lies, mm-hmm. And it's really deceit that pulls people that direction. I want to go back to something you said earlier, because you said being in such a pro-choice state, you don't have as much opposition. That was an interesting comment to me. So because abortion is widely available, people don't really feel the same level of like hatred for you guys.
Or threat or anything like that.
Threats, yeah. So have you guys faced anything like that, threats Or, I don't know if you've heard of clinics in other states that have faced that kind of thing recently.
Well, there have been other clinics in California that have actually faced
yeah.
threats, not just in other states,
Gotcha.
but thankfully we haven't experienced any opposition or issue in the location that we're in. And I think that's also because the clinic itself has a great relationship with the city. Like we're quite public, we're quite well known in the area that we're in, and people really need help. We're in a time, especially during COVID, where people really need help. There were mothers that couldn't get, supplies for their children. And so we were contacted from other areas to say, hey, actually, do you know someone that could provide this? Do you know someone that could run and get some, some formula for a mom? And so that was really nice, I think, just because we're not necessarily a threat in that way. Abortion is still widely available in California, right up until birth, if you want to. And so when we are there in the clinic with women, we're presenting, obviously we're presenting the choices for life. We're presenting going through and having your baby. If you want to gift your baby in adoption, if that's not the right, if you can't go ahead and have the baby and care for the baby, adoption is a very life-affirming option that is there for them. And then also we will go ahead and give them factual information on the different abortion procedures. But we're not barricading the door. We're not standing in any woman's way to go ahead and have an abortion. They are free to do that. We will always give the full facts. We'll go through, what are the stats of what abortion does, how it affects women's mental health, how a lot of women go through with having an abortion feeling that they have no options, but they're never told that abortion is not a neutral option. It's presented like as if you go ahead and have an abortion, all your problems will go away. That was the problem, and we're going to go ahead and get rid of it. Right. And so then you can just go back to normal. And then women don't know how to deal with the feelings that come after having an abortion. We have a whole restoration program that we have. We have miscarriage support, and we also have this restoration series that we call, one is called Forgiven and Set Free, and another one is called Deeper Still. And that is there to help the women that have gone through with having an abortion that realize afterwards that this was a really invasive process. This was a really this is different to what I thought it was going to be. And now I'm filled with feelings of guilt, with feelings of shame. There's a lot of secrecy that goes on, and I don't feel like I can have good, intimate relationships with others because I have this thing written on my head that I had an abortion. That's the feeling that they have. These are the words that they tell us. And so we always try to say, hey, consider all your options. There are consequences to all the different options that you choose. Not one, like I would say that there are ones that are better than others, but as in nothing is neutral. There is always a trade-off that happens with any of these things that you make. And so I think because we're not stopping women from going ahead and having an abortion, we don't necessarily have the pushback. We're just presenting all the options. And the stats actually of this year from 2021, so October 2021 right through till the end of September of 2022, 78% of the women that come to our clinic will choose life for their child. And that's fantastic. That's 4 out of 5 women that will come to the clinic will go ahead and choose life for their child, whether that is with them carrying on with parenting or making an adoption plan. Only 1 out of 5 will go ahead and will go through with an abortion. But even for those that go through an abortion, our services are still available to them. And so you'll have some that will go ahead and have an abortion, and then they'll have a second pregnancy and say, I shouldn't have done that the first time. Can I come back? And you guys were so great, and I'd love you to help me in the care of my next child. So, yeah.
It's pretty good batting average.
It's pretty amazing. It's actually our highest in the last 5 years.
Is it? Yeah, I was going to ask if that's up or down.
It's the highest in our last 5 years,
right. Yeah. Ask a good question, Bettina.
I don't know where to start now. It's been just so deep and lovely.
Do you have any cool stories? I know you already told us a couple, but
yeah, well,
what's the best story?
So one that always sticks with me is another abortion-minded woman that came into the clinic. So we have different ways of categorizing women that come in. We have abortion-minded, abortion-vulnerable, and life-minded, and we don't make those judgments. Well, as in we don't make those judgments on them, but it helps us to be able to know. Yeah, you just kind of
internally categorize.
Yeah, well, it's helpful for us to know where they're at and what the type of support they may need. But one of the ladies that had come in, she was actually homeless. She was living in her car at that time. She was not in a good situation. She didn't really know what to do, and she came to the clinic. She called one evening, and it was the evening that we were open late. So we're usually open 9 to 5, and there's one evening a week that we're open till 8 p.m. And so they said, you know what, come on in straight away. And she came in and she said, I need to have an abortion. I can't do this. This isn't okay. I don't have a house to live in. I'm living in my car. At that time she was involved in some drugs. There was a lot of things going on. And she was like, I'm not in a healthy place for me to have this. No one's going to take me in. My family said that they would completely disown me. And they've basically done that already. And so at that time, the nurse manager was in the clinic and she said, you know what? I know of a maternity home that would be happy to take you. And they will give you places to stay. And so she went ahead and she went to this maternity home. And she went ahead and had her baby, and they encouraged her to get back to school. And that was the end of the story for us. And we didn't hear much more until 2 years ago. And she showed up 8 years later with her daughter, who is now 7 years old. And she said that not only did she go on to finish her high school diploma, she went on to get her bachelor's and her master's. Her whole life turned around because she had her baby. She said that was the wake-up call that I needed. Because everyone's saying the baby's going to ruin my life. Actually, it was the baby that saved my life. And that's
the opposite narrative that they give, that you have the kid and now I can't pursue education or a career or anything.
Yeah, and this is 8 years down. You're seeing the fruit of it. And it was really funny. It was a big, lovely turnaround story. She's now one of our supporters. So not only does she go through all the parenting program, everything else, she is now in the process of giving back. And she was like, honestly, it was the best thing that happened to me. Because if I had gone ahead and had that abortion, I would have continued on the path that I was on. And the path that I was on was not good for me. But having people to tell me, no, there is another way. There is hope in this daunting path. This isn't the only outcome that it could be good, she was like, no one else had said that to me. And so that was a really awesome story.
That's a pretty cool story.
It is a pretty awesome story. And then can I tell you one more?
Yeah.
If that's okay.
Bettina, ask her if she has another cool story.
Do you have another story?
I have another. I just want to tell you this one just because it happened in the clinic while I was actually there. And it was one where, again, we had an abortion-minded woman, and she was like, no, I don't want to do this. And then she went into the ultrasound, and she realized she was having twins, 10-week-old twins. She was a twin. Her mother was a twin. Her grandmother was a twin. And suddenly it was this realization again, these are my children. This is my family legacy. This is my family heritage. And it was a little bit odd for us because it was like, oh, if it was just one baby, you may not have kept it. But you're like, okay, fine. But it was seeing what was inside of her womb, those eyes being open, those veils being lifted from her eyes, that she was like, I can't do this. This is my family legacy. And I think that's what we need to empower women to realize, that they are in charge of their destiny. Whatever happens in life, like, I believe that God is in charge ultimately, but also there isn't just one narrative that we need to follow. Just because it was hard for someone else doesn't mean it's not going to be a different story for you. So that was another fun one for us.
It's a good one. It's a good story. Good question, Bettina. Good answer. I'm glad you asked that question. So Kanye West recently did an interview with Tucker Carlson, and he said there are more blacks being aborted than born in New York City, and 50% of black death is from abortion. How racist is Kanye West because of this comment?
Oh gosh, how racist is Kanye? I mean, he clearly has no idea what he's talking about, right? This is Kanye West. But I mean, it's funny because he alludes to such truth that people don't know about. I mean, you guys will probably know Margaret Sanger and how she started Planned Parenthood in black neighborhoods for the specific target of getting rid of a race that she was really against. I sit here as a brown woman, and so we're in a very multicultural society, and I don't understand how people are not so outraged that still to this day, Planned Parenthoods are targeted in minority communities. They say they're there to help low-income families, but actually they don't give them any help apart from aborting their children. How is that really helping women? How is that really helping families? We're not trying to alleviate poverty. We're not trying to get them onto good tracks of education. Like, that would actually be helping people that are in low-income backgrounds. But instead, we continue to perpetuate a cycle of death and a cycle of despair and a cycle that doesn't have any hope at the end of it. So, yeah.
Well, we're going to go into our 10 questions that we conclude every interview with. But first, I just wanted to, I don't know, it's you could do anything in life. Like, you could operate a construction crane if you wanted to. I mean, but you do this. So what motivates you? What drives you to do that every day?
That's a good question to ask.
Thank you.
I think the thing that really helps me wake up in the morning and do what I do, even though I know there'll be backlash from friends that don't understand, family members that don't understand, is seeing how the work of the pro-life industry isn't just for babies. It's for women, it's for men, it's for families, and families are the whole structure of the whole of society. And so if I'm looking at things around me and I'm looking at chaos, I'm thinking, okay, what do we go back to help fix? And what we're seeing here is mothers being reunited with the love that they have for their children. We're seeing boyfriends become husbands, taking on that mantle of responsibility of taking care of their families, providing for their families, helping them be in a safe, secure environment, which is so important for children to be able to really grow into their God-given purpose and calling. And so many women, their lives are turned around by accepting what is going on in their life and saying, actually, I'm going to defend rather than destroy. You know, I'm going to come alongside all these people that are here with me telling me that I can do this, so I can see a new horizon ahead of me of opportunities, of areas of growth that wasn't there. And so I think when we see the stories, there's nothing else I want to do, you know. So I'd say that would be it.
Construction crane, you know.
My husband's in construction, so I kind of leave him to that.
Okay.
So
does he operate a crane? Or?
He does not operate a crane. Okay. No.
Sad. Did you have anything else you wanted to ask? No, if you can't, don't feel like I don't want to like steamroll over you.
Oh no, I was just curious. I mean, I know that you run purely off volunteers and everything. How do people volunteer for your clinic, and what are you looking for?
Yeah, so we are a nonprofit. We're completely donation run. We don't really get any government or federal funding, good and bad. You know, we do have a lot of support from churches, organizations, and businesses, and then a large part of the actual day-to-day work. We have a staff team of about 10, but I'd say there are about 40 people that actually get involved to make the clinic run. So 30 of those will be volunteers. So we have volunteer positions, not just in the medical side, but we do take medical volunteers. So whether that's a doctor, a physician's assistant, nurses, medical assistants, we have volunteer positions for them. But we also have positions, and I didn't really allude to this earlier, that are called client advocates. And so the client advocates are the ones that will be having those really important discussions with the patients that come in. So after they do their intake with a medical assistant, they go into an advocacy room, a consultant room. And there they will really listen and learn and figure out what's going on. And they'll be able to understand, is it physical needs that they have? Is it medical needs that they have? Are they in safe situations? Some of them actually come and they're not in safe situations. And so we spend a lot of time training volunteers to become very apt and excellent client advocates so that they are able to really see what the needs are of the patient that they are dealing with. So that is a great volunteer position that men and women can come onto. We generally will have women that are client advocates, but if there is a boyfriend that comes in with them, it's always nice to have a male advocate to really help them navigate. It's a scary journey for men too at that time. So there's that position. We also have admin volunteers. We have events volunteers. And then, of course, we have the Bridges volunteers. So that is a parenting program. Again, for that is a lot of male and female mentors that'll come alongside, and they'll be assigned, somewhere between 3 to 5 couples or individuals that they will follow all through their pregnancy time, and they really have a lovely time to get to know them. That again comes from volunteers that have the space and the ability to really build a community for the couples that they are mentoring. And then on the side of that, we also have people that are very good at cooking, that love to make meals for the sessions that they come to. And I think that's something that we kind of miss out on in society, is just the time of really sitting down and communing together over a meal. And so they do that at every Bridges session. So the parents, don't have to quickly try and feed themselves and then come to a meeting. They come together and they eat together. They come together and they do things, they get to know one another. They share their concerns with one another. And so we have a whole other volunteer team that actually make the meals every single week for the mentors that come in, and for the clients that come in. So there's lots of ways that you can volunteer with the clinic. And then, of course, there are church organizations that partner with us too. So
awesome. And we'll have links to all that stuff so you guys can donate and volunteer. Volunteers get paid with treasure in heaven. So remember that.
They absolutely do.
All right, let's move on to our 10 questions. We ask every guest that comes on our podcast the same 10 questions. And the first one is, have you ever met Carmen?
The champion?
Yeah.
No, I haven't.
Okay.
I wish I did. I mean, he passed away, right?
Yeah, he's dead.
Yeah, but I mean, he was great. I grew up with all of his songs. So yeah, I know. Awesome.
He's behind me.
Oh, he is. Oh, yeah.
So rare anybody knows who Carmen is.
Oh, well, I was that girl that grew up in that Christian bubble. So
yeah, well, there you go.
All right. So are you a Calvinist or an Arminian?
Do I have to answer that question? But definitely more on the Calvinist side.
Calvinist side? Oh, awesome.
Yeah. God likes you now.
2 for 2. Question number 3, you get to add one book to the Bible. What is it?
One book to the Bible? Sheesh, that's hard. I feel like I shouldn't answer. I'm not supposed to add books to the Bible. Okay, that's
just
what
theoretical.
I know.
You're not actually doing it.
I mean, if we add in some Tolkien, I feel like that'll be a
Tolkien?
really
Oh.
nice little.
Oh my gosh,
3
she's
for
totally
3.
kissing up
look
to
at
you.
this.
There we
Yeah,
go.
great.
All right, cigars or pipes?
I'm gonna go with pipes. Yeah, I'm gonna go with pipes. My husband actually has a few pipes, so I have to feel like I have to go that way. He likes cigars too, but yeah.
Great.
You look cooler with a pipe, anyways.
I know, well, he has one of those long Gandalf pipes. So actually,
Does he
rather
like
cool.
Tolkien?
He does.
Is he a Calvinist?
He is.
Can he
Can he
come
be best
and-
friends with Kyle?
Can he come hang out?
I mean, he really wants to. I'm not even
Do you
kidding. When
like- yeah,
when I
seriously.
told him that I was coming on this, he was like, "Are you kidding me?" He's going to be at the dinner, so if you guys are coming to that,
Okay, I can't be there, but a lot of them are coming. But
Yeah,
tell him to come have a pipe with us.
I don't think like a week goes by where he doesn't send me another Babylon Bee meme.
I
or
hang out with
something.
you too. I just like.
I'm just
not-
no, he's fine. He is much cooler than I am, so it's okay.
I wasn't. That's
Yeah.
not what I was saying. But you get to hang out with any 3 people, living or dead. Who are they?
Living or dead. So Queen Elizabeth, I was really sad when she died. I really,
Oh, I was going to ask her.
yeah, I
forgot
was
to ask.
really sad when she died. Queen Elizabeth, Queen Victoria, and Abraham Lincoln.
Okay.
All right.
All really cool people in my book.
Whiskey or beer?
Oh, whiskey.
All right.
Yeah, very
She's
easy.
cool. Should we hire her?
What? Sure. Does your husband like whiskey or beer?
He likes both. We share a love for whiskey, but you know,
But he
beer's
likes
more
beer
his.
too?
Yeah, of course he does.
What would be the first thing you would do as president?
First thing I would do as president. Oh, that is a really good question.
Thank you.
I don't know this. I mean, like, get rid of gender pronouns. Like, that would probably be
No,
one of the.
you don't get to say any pronouns.
You just well, as in like you know, there's the English language, and we follow that. That's kind of my
Okay.
All right. Have you ever been punched by anyone? Or
I
been
have
punched?
not. No, I have not been punched by anyone.
Have you ever punched anyone?
No, I slapped someone, but never punched someone.
Okay, well then do
We
you
have a backup question.
Yeah. Do you have an embarrassing story to tell us?
I'm sure there are. I'm trying to think. Embarrassing story to tell. I can't think of any, which is kind of sad. I mean, yeah. It's kind
Have
of
you
sad.
ever gone to the bathroom in your pants in public?
Gone
Like
out
you-
in the
like-
bathroom?
like-
Have you ever peed your pants?
Peed your pants in public.
No, I have not. Thankfully, I have not peed my pants.
That was
in
the
public.
third backup.
Oh, okay. Yeah, no, thankfully, I have not peed my pants.
If you
in
don't
public.
tell us a funny story or tell us the most embarrassing thing that ever happened to you, then the punishment is you have to answer that question.
I have very nearly peed my pants in public.
but never.
Thankfully, yeah.
Okay, question number 9. You get to go to one concert, any band in history. Who do you go see?
History. Sheesh. A nod to my mom. I would probably want to go and see an ABBA concert. I heard
Okay,
that they were really
ABBA.
good in their time, and people
Cool.
still do them now.
Awesome. What would your husband go see?
Oh, he would definitely not go see ABBA.
Oh.
I don't know. What would he? I mean, he went through like a heavy metal phase at one point, and
Kyle wants to be best friends.
I know. I mean, he's a really cool
I saw
guy.
Iron
I'm
Maiden
not
last
even.
week, so I'm just,
Okay, yeah. So it'll probably be one of those. We don't necessarily share that
If
love,
he wants
but
to
I'm
hang
good.
out, I can give you my number after if you want.
Mandate.
Like pass it on.
Yeah, I
right.
know. He's left in Utah enjoying all the beautiful,
Wonderful.
fall colors while I'm,
We don't have fall
no.
or colors.
Yeah, that's true. Sad.
Well, we have one more question for you.
All right. Do you want to do us a solid and accept Jesus as your Lord and Savior?
I mean, I can do it again, but yes, I'd love to accept you. You know.
I got her. Is this your first altar call,
Yes.
Bettina? You did it.
There
on the
you
first
go. Yeah.
Well, thanks so much for coming out. This has been awesome. Everybody, please check out the donate links on the podcast notes and all that, and volunteer if you want to. They have Kevin Sorbo coming to speak at a banquet soon, but you can't go because it's too late to buy tickets. But please donate, and you'll have some material up from that event.
We
soon
will do.
that you
Yeah,
can
that'll
check out after
be
the
on our
fact.
YouTube page and also on our website, and that's our biggest fundraiser of the year. And from that, we
Awesome.
can actually plan our budget for the year. So
Babylon Bee will be there at the table. So that's pretty cool. You're missing out. Should have done it earlier. Yeah, well, anyway, thanks for coming out. This is awesome. We really appreciate the work that you do.
Amazing. Thank you so much for having me.
Treasure in heaven is great, but it's not going to buy you a tank of gas. So let's take a moment to briefly review the current state of our economy and the global effect the war between Russia and Ukraine has had. We're in for a tough year here, and Biden's printing and spending could be catastrophic for the US dollar and the market. That's why a growing number of financial analysts are recommending you diversify with gold and silver now. And the only company we recommend is Allegiance Gold. Our friends at Allegiance Gold can help you protect your IRA or 401k with physical gold and silver and have it delivered securely right to your door. The team at Allegiance Gold takes the time to educate their clients on the importance of having a financial portfolio that's diversified with gold and silver. Allegiance Gold has been one of the top precious metals firms in the nation for their commitment to protecting your hard-earned savings. They have an A+ from the Better Business Bureau, a 5-star rating with TrustLink, and they're AAA rated with the Business Consumer Alliance. If you act now by calling them and you mention Babylon Bee, they'll even give you $500 of free silver on a qualified purchase. Call 844-790-9191 to get this exclusive offer. Or you can visit allegiancegold.com/B. That's B-E-E. Call 844-790-9191. That's 844-790-9191. Or visit allegiancegold.com/BEE.
What does a little midget do inside the ultrasound machine? Thump, 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 thump.
And what do you do when you're talking about a midget and a baby in the same sentence? Because you can't call the midget the little person anymore because there's a littler person.
Did you see that?
I think you have to go back to midget.
Did you see that one, that altar call that where the pastor's saying the midget? He says like little guy. Oh, no.
No.
Okay. We'll show you.
The church that I went to in college, it was called I think Grace Lutheran in State College, Pennsylvania. One of our pastors was a little person, a midget.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Did he stand on like something to?
He didn't stand on something, but I used to have. I did used to do stand-up jokes about having a little person as a pastor.
Oh, okay.
Did he get up on his soapbox every Sunday?
Wasted a communion. What?
From the little.
I get it.
Already said it twice.
Okay. Say it again.
Did he get up on his soapbox every Sunday?
Oh, yeah. That's the third time you said. So there's
Should
this.
I say it again?
I'm just going to describe this funny video to you, which is the best way to experience viral videos.
Yes.
This pastor is giving an altar call.
Uh-huh.
And you know how they always say, like, yes, you, the girl that's raising the hand.
Uh-huh.
And he goes, the little guy in the back. And then it's like this awkward silence, and he goes, I say little guy. He's a child. He's not a midget.
But is the guy a midget?
No, it's like a kid.
It is a child.
You can't see him in the video, but I assume it's a kid.
See.
He goes, it's not a midget.
In the middle of a prayer.
And so everybody's like got their head cloud, and he goes, I didn't want you guys to think that I was insulting a midget.
Oh, I got to watch that.
It'll be funnier when you see it. But that explanation.
Even though I know how it ends.
Yeah.
You know what I learned this week for the first time? There is such a thing as a leg lengthening surgery in which people can grow about up to 3 inches.
Oh,
I was just listening to Conan's podcast, Conan O'Brien Needs a Friend, and Rivers Cuomo's on there from Weezer.
Yeah.
Rivers needed that in one of his legs.
Oh, needed, not...
He needed it because he was born, there's a thing.
Yeah,
and
like
but I think that's where that surgery originated from. Like, not just to make people taller, but there's people that are born where one leg doesn't grow. And they have to extend it and make it grow longer.
So there's a legitimate reason and also a cosmetic reason.
Exactly.
So if you want to save the little people, the babies, not the midgets, go to assuredlife.org, and you can figure out there how to make a donation to Assure Pregnancy. And there's assurepregnancy.org. You can check out clinic information, make an appointment, and you can sign up for prayer updates at prayforbabies.com/assure204. And all that information will be in the notes. Let's go on to hate mail.
I really miss Adam Ford.
Oh my.
Make this a little bit bigger. There's a lot of words there, and there's probably lots of grammar and spelling mistakes.
And lots of cuss words.
Actually, I don't see any. Well, I do.
So this is a hate mail that was sent to us after we did our Texas, California Moves to Texas, the barbecue episode, and there was a couple of vegan jokes in there, I think. And this person was not happy.
We're gonna censor his email address, but it is from AOL.com for what it's worth.
And it's a very short email address. Like, you would have had to sign up for AOL really early to nab that email address.
Yeah.
All right, so here we go. He says, you too? Okay, look, this vegan loves Trump. This vegan loves Polaris life on West VA outlaw trails because Hatfield is for sissies. This vegan loves guns for fun and protection. This vegan is sick of people making all vegans look like liberals. Please get it through your thick heads. What you eat has nothing to do with politics. We're all soy boys. We're all weak. Stand in front of me. Look me in my God-given eyes and say it. You'll find yourself looking up at me from the ground. Please just stop. Enough is enough. I really liked your channel too. I already cut Timcast and Louder with JP. I guess I have to unsubscribe to you too. Silly jokes I can tolerate, but you retards are ruining us conservative vegans' lives. Did you ever consider the real reasons people go vegan? It's for health, you idiots, not politics. I'm twice as fast, twice as strong now as I ever was eating meat. I can keep it up without Viagra at 50. Can you? You need to watch Game Changers. Educate yourselves maybe, then do an apology. Oh, and
Flower
thank you
bed.
for adding to the hate. You are the reason I argue with my family because you are pushing stereotypes that are pure BS.
Wow, that guy really went for it.
That might be my favorite hate mail.
That's one of the best hate mails we've ever received.
Yes.
There's so much that I like about these sorts of hate mails. First is, it's weird how I feel like here at the Babylon Bee, one of our things is kind of pushing back against the snowflake thing, the triggered thing. And yet any group we do make, like if I make a joke about Mormons having multiple wives, there's always comments. Mormon, how dare you say that? Mormons aren't really. If we make a vegan joke that vegans aren't really like, there's still like it's a joke. Like,
snowflakes come in all
you can just take it. And then I also like that he called us retards in it. Like in defending his own group, he had to insult another group, like use another offensive word in it.
I like the claim that he's twice as fast and twice as strong.
Say it to my face.
Yeah.
You'll be looking up at me from the ground.
This is one of the greatest of all time.
There was very few grammar and spelling errors though, so
just a lot of
credit for that.
A lot of caps lock.
A lot of all caps.
I like also at the beginning, what is Polaris Life on the West Virginia Outlaw Trails?
I think that's one of those off-road vehicle, one of those four-wheeler things, and I think he's saying that there's I don't know that trail, but I think there's some trail that he's confirming his
for
sissies.
He's like confirming his conservative bona fides.
Yeah, and he's extreme. He's like extreme, like yeah. And I'll let you know at 50 if I can keep it up without Viagra.
Yeah, we don't know yet.
Thanks for watching, everybody. Stay tuned if you're a subscriber. We're going to the subscriber portion. We are going to do subscriber headlines. We got some bonus hate mail, and we're going to ask my son Samuel the 10 questions.
Coming up next for Babylon Bee subscribers.
All right, Samuel. Well, we're going to ask you the 10 questions. Now, have you ever watched the Babylon Bee podcast before? Do you know what the 10 questions are?
No.
Okay.
I feel like I should say Dad missed church last Sunday.
Oh, got him. Look at this hypocrite over here.
So do you.
Right, the angry hate
Yeah, but
mail.
I can't drive.
You were Christian.
I can't drive.
This has been another edition of the Bee Weekly from the dedicated team of certified fake news journalists you can trust here at the Babylon Bee. Reminding you that fake news of the people, by the people, and for the people shall not perish from the earth.